Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Majitana Bongwana, welcome to it. This is In the Game with Mpixo P, the greatest. And you know what? The African Cup of Nations is happening, and we cannot make that mistake and not talk about it. More importantly, Bafana, that is our country, are going to represent us. Just our chances of going all the way to the finals, even winning it. Remember, 1996, we were champions of this very same cup. And today, we are playing against Mali, a team that is looked at as a team that will give us a run for our money. But listen, in studio today, I'm not alone. I'm with Coach Dona, and this is Free State Online channel. And we are broadcasting live from the Plus Media Academy studios. This is where we are. That is why we're looking so nice and beautiful and handsome, sure. If you put it that way. Coach Dona, listen, welcome to the show. I'm excited to be going to have this conversation with you.
Sure. No, thank you. Thank you so much, Mpixo. Thanks for having me. And good day to the viewers of Free State Online.
Coach Dona, look, let's look at this year's African Cup of Nations just before we get into the whole Bafana conversation,
sure,
right?
Sure.
We usually have teams that we call favorites, right? Your Nigerias, your Moroccos, your Ivory Coast, historically your Egypt, and we can have countries that we call favorites because of their performance, you know, in recent years, like your Senegal, you know, Cameroon historically is a giant in Africa. But when you look at this AFCON, do you think we have favorites, or it's just a balanced, you know, tournament?
I think from a historical context, as you just mentioned, there will always be favorites, you know. That's why we have FIFA rankings, African rankings. So by virtue of that, teams who are higher ranked will always be considered as favorites. Teams who have a lot of European players in their teams will always be considered as favorites. But I think from the past few games that we just observed, we can definitely say that football is a game of 11 versus 11. We can call people favorites on paper because they're star-studded or whatever the case might be. But at the end of the day, it's 11 versus 11. There are upsets. For me, this year, the AFCON, generally, the teams are balanced. I don't think there are too many outright favorites. A lot of upsets are coming.
Did you expect to see what happened to Ghana? I mean, Cape Verde is one of those teams that we look at as underdogs, but they managed to beat Ghana by 2-1. And for a team like Ghana, is this a good way to start the tournament?
Obviously, I think the result was definitely an upset by the standards of football people. But like I'm saying, the tournament in general has teams that are balanced, because even the very Cape Verde, if you look at their history coming into this tournament, they do not play bad football. They are not a weak team by any stretch of your imagination, you understand? And I don't think there's any country that's participating in this competition that can be considered outright weak. You know, teams had to go through qualifiers and all these different stages for them to be here. So there is no weak team. So as much as we can say that this was an upset, but if you look at the history of Cape Verde as well, I think Ghana should have done their homework and realized that it was going to be a difficult match.
Listen, I like the point that you just put across, you know, 11 against 11. We saw what happened with Egypt and Mozambique. But now let's look into our group, right? Into our group, we've got Mali, we've got Tunisia, we've got Namibia. How are we looking in that group overall when you look at all these teams that you know we are going to play against? Because when you look at the rankings, as far as our group is concerned, we are ranked third in this group.
Okay, for me, again, I'm gonna say rankings. I'm not gonna go too much on rankings because AFCON is an incredibly difficult tournament. I think history has proved it, even not just in this current one, the past few games that we've witnessed, but even the previous editions. We have come to realize that this tournament is incredibly difficult because every nation, every country wants to compete for honors, you know. So for our country, Bafana, I think we do have the quality. We have a lot of quality in our team to make it to qualify. I think we can even go as far as semi or finals. I think we have a very good balanced team. Hugo Bruce, our national team coach, has been working a lot on cohesion, you know, unity, building a squad of players who have been playing together for a long period of time. So I think there's a lot of unity, cohesion, understanding, you know, amongst our players, which should be the ingredients that we need for us to qualify first. We'll qualify either first or second. For me, it doesn't really matter. But I think we'll go as far as semi-finals, worst case scenario. We're going to compete.
Let's look into our squad, right? You've got those players that people feel these players shouldn't have been left out. For example, Thembi Nkosi-Lorch will always be part of the conversation. And you have those players that are questioned within the squad, like your Mahopas, where people just like, what has he been doing to deserve to be in the national team? What do you make of a player like Thembi, even if he doesn't become part of the first 11? If he's just there on the bench, maybe when we need him, when we need a game changer, for him to just pop in. Do you think the coach made a mistake, or you know, his choices are right?
Okay, firstly, let me say this. I think when it comes to national team selection, there will never, or there's never been a time for me as a South African where I've heard the whole country being happy with players who are selected. There has always been, and there will always be, players who we feel that could have been included in the squad, some should have been excluded, or whatever the case might be. So I think with Thembi Nkosi-Lorch, it's no different. But I think just to allude to my previous statement about Hugo Bruce, the way his approach was based on cohesion, unity, and consistency in terms of preparations. The squad that he chose, if you look at it in its totality, it's a squad of players who have been consistently playing together, you know. And when we take a player like Thembi Nkosi-Lorch, unfortunately his season has been hampered by injuries and other external issues that we don't need to talk about. But my point is, he hasn't been in the national setup fold consistently enough for me to say that Hugo Bruce should have selected him. He has been on form. I think that's the reason why people are asking why is he not being included. He has been on form recently, but for me that's not enough as far as the way I think Hugo Bruce took that approach to be considered, because besides Lorch, we can also consider a player like Reyners from Stellenbosch. For me, that's a player who I can say that it's a difficult snap. He should have been in that squad because he's banging in the goals, you understand. And then we can consider a lot of factors, man. You just mentioned Evidence Mahopa. We need to understand as well that players are different, and even our attackers, specifically strikers, they perform different roles. Sometimes we have outright number 9s who we can go play direct balls to, players like Evidence Mahopa. But if you think about the selection prior to him being here, we were considering a player like Lebu Mutiba, who is now based in France. So I think had he been here, because I think he's injured, he got injured. I think had a player like Lebu Mutiba been here, had a player like Lyle Foster as well been here, then I do not think that Evidence Mahopa would have made it. So these are just some of the things that we need to consider as well as a country, that I don't think Hugo Bruce just thumb-sucked this. There has been a lot of planning, you know, and preparations involved. But overall, it's the consistency, man, the unity, the cohesion that I think he focused on. And for that, I do believe he did a great job. That's why I'm confident that we'll compete.
Look, let's look at our group again. To come out of this group, right? What should be the strategy that we have? We are taking on Mali, tonight. But we definitely need to start, collecting points. But in doing that, we need to come up with a strategy to say this is how we should approach, our games. We know our neighbors in Namibia. We know Tunisia, as one of those teams that give us a run for our money. We know that Mali is not going to sit there looking at their squad. A lot of players playing in Europe. What should be the strategy for us to make it out of this group?
Mpixo, SA South Africans have our strength as South Africans is that we are ball players. We have a lot of ball players. We have a lot of skillful, intelligent players. So from a South African tactical perspective, we just have to be very aggressive when we attack. I do not consider our country as a defensive team. I think we are very attacking. So from the onset, every single game, we have to be aggressive when we attack. I mean, you have Pesitau in our attacking arsenal. You have Tembazwane in our attacking arsenal. Just those two players alone, the creativity there, it's incredible. So we need to use them wisely. We need to make sure that we get specifically those two players on the ball as much as possible so that we can create opportunities. But Hugo Broos should not be fearful. We go outright attack. It's the first game. We're playing Mali tonight, 10 o'clock. It's the very first game of the group. We go outright attack. We do not hold back.
Listen, because you mentioned Hugo Broos so many times, I wanna go back to what he said, when he first got the job. If you remember, he didn't qualify for the World Cup, right? And he came and he said, if you give me time, I'll definitely qualify for the African Cup of Nations and we can take it from there. With what he has done with the squad so far, are you confident in him, and what do you think becomes our strength in this whole tournament? Looking at other countries as well, remembering that we still have your Ivory Coast that are still part of this, we still have your Cameroon, and teams, when you look at their first games, they haven't switched on enough. When I watched Egypt, I didn't see an Egypt that is switched on. If you look at that game, they shouldn't have allowed Mozambique to hold them to a draw. What do you think is our strength that we're going to use throughout the tournament?
When we speak about Hugo Broos, he's a very interesting man, I must say. I think he's one of the first national team coaches who has come and shaken the country, for lack of a better word. He has come with his own plan, his own ideas, and despite the criticism and everything that has been thrown at him or against him, he has stood firm in what he believes in as a coach, and his results have proved that. So I think it's incredibly difficult for a lot of people to criticize him as far as results are concerned, because he has proved that he can win games, and he's been winning games, you understand. I think his statistics now, he had 12 wins, 7 draws, just 4 losses, which is quite an incredible statistic for from a South African perspective, That's why even his selection, I'm not gonna criticize as much as I'm gonna support, because despite everything, Hugo Broos has proven to us that he can win games. He gave us a promise to qualify for AFCON. He has qualified. So I think at this given point, he deserves more of our support than our criticism. Your second question, looking at the tournament, this tournament is open for everyone. Open for everyone. It's maybe we cannot take the first games as a benchmark, for lack of a better word, but the tournament is open. For me so far, the only country that has convinced me is Senegal. Senegal yesterday, they showed the quality. They won the game cleanly.
Rightfully so, as the defending champion.
Listen, they are the defending champions. They come beaming with confidence. So far, they are the only country who has proven to me that they have what it takes to go all the way. Other so-called big strong nations, your Egypt, they struggled. Cameroon struggled. Ghana struggled. Nigeria struggled.
Oh, Nigeria.
We look at Algeria yesterday. Algeria was a favorite for yesterday's game, but Angola, 15 minutes before they got a penalty, and then they salvaged a draw. So it's not gonna be easy. Another favorite that we still need to watch. I don't know if Morocco has qualified, but they are a strong team, so we will be looking at them as a possible contender. But in general, this tournament is open, and as a South African coach as well, I'm backing the boys and Hugo Broos 100%.
Your score prediction for this game against Mali, and I want you to think it through, because I'm definitely going to hold you to it. Your score prediction against Mali?
It's gonna be a close one. The tournament has proved that the games have been won by margins. It's been 1-0, 2-1, and draws. But I'm gonna give my boys a 2-1 victory for tonight.
When we take on Namibia, what do you think? Let's predict ahead, so that by the time we finish this AFCON, I want to see what was your kind of build up, score prediction.
Okay.
Against Namibia.
Okay, against Namibia. Okay. Statistically, they are the lowest ranked in our group, and I think even in the tournament as a whole. So I'm not taking them lightly. Like I had said, this is a game of 11 versus 11, but by virtue of the statistics and the rankings, Namibia we should beat 2-0. Namibia will beat 2-0. Mali we will beat 2-1. Tunisia, even if we can get a draw, we'll still qualify, so I'll be happy.
I wanted to see where that draw was going to come from.
Yeah,
it
Tunisia.
had to come from Tunisia.
Maybe Tunisia, yeah.
But why a draw against Tunisia? Can't we beat Tunisia for once? If we are confident in the squad, can't we just go outright and collect 9 points just to set a statement?
Yeah, I think speaking from a football coaching perspective, there is no coach who doesn't play without wanting to win a game. You understand? But we've seen the nature of the game and how it goes. So sometimes it's not about thinking that you won't win a game, but it's about being realistic at the same time to say, this is quite a strong team, So yes, maybe Hugo Broos, when he made his plan with the boys, he said, let's opt for two results. It's either we get a win or we get a draw, but not a loss. Yeah, so that's why I'm thinking draw is the worst case scenario. But like you are saying, if we can get a win, then we can beat them. Like I'm saying, I'm quite confident that Bafana has a team that can compete. So by so saying, in a competition, you have to, especially at the knockouts, you have to beat everyone. So Bafana has the ability to beat any team that they face in this competition.
Very interesting. So, Coach Dona, first of all, thank you so much for having this conversation with me. You are leaving me in a positive spirit.
Sure.
Going into the game, I'm going to go there very positive, because I believe what you've put down, we stand a good chance, and that's what we want. I mean, we won the Rugby World Cup last year, and coming into the AFCON, we must be champions. We must keep that spirit of championship, running. So I hope Bafana out in Cote d'Ivoire, they're also ready to lift the AFCON and make us proud in their first game even, and beat Mali. As you said, I'm expecting that 2-1. People are going to put the bets after this show and then start betting and putting their money on this game. So Coach Dona, thank you so much for having this conversation with me.
No, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me, and thank you to the viewers as well for tuning in. It was a good interview. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's how we wrap it up with Coach Dona. And remember that earlier on I had a conversation with Coach Morena, Ramoreboli, who's going to unpack the squad. You know, he coached the squad during the COSAFA, so I can't let him slide. So he's just going to give you all that. So do make sure that you check that out too. But as always, I cannot drop the mic without saying this: to whom much is given, much is expected, and to whom much is expected, much is required. Every champion that is a champion today was once a contender, refused to give up. I'm Mpixo P, the greatest, and God willing, I'll see you next time for sure. This is Free State Online Channel. Ayoba, danko.
Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, as promised, that we're going to have to chat to Coach Morena Ramoreboli and just find from him how he sees the game against Mali. More importantly, our squad. We're definitely keeping that promise. And on the line with us, we've got Coach Morena Ramoreboli all from Botswana. Now remember that Coach Morena is the coach of Johannesburg Galaxy out in Botswana. Good day. Welcome to Free State Online Network.
Thank you very much for having me, and good afternoon to everybody in studio, and good afternoon to you, to my brother. And thanks once again for having me on the show.
Coach, let's look at the first game of the Final Bafana in the African Cup of Nations that will play this evening, in fact tonight. Coach, when we look at our squad, right, what do you make of our chances in this game?
I've learned to understand that a tournament is different from a league game.
Yeah.
A motivation in tournament is extremely or completely different from the motivation we get in a league game. Players knowing that they have first round and second round in a league, sometimes mentality is not the same as the mentality of those that says, you play this one, you don't have another chance. I know that there has been a lot of talks about the Bafana, but even if some of the players that people say they should have been selected were selected, somebody will still gonna be saying why he left so and so. So unfortunately, everybody has his or her own choice of players. So whoever that Bafana has picked to go play today will go and do the job for the South Africans. And I strongly feel that after watching the matches which have started this tournament, I really believe that we have a chance of doing well, no matter who is playing. What is important now, it is the attitude and the commitment in fighting for positive results.
With the squad that we have, where do you think our strength lies, just to make sure that we get away with our first game? We've already seen upsets in this tournament, as you've spoken about, the matches that played earlier. We saw Ghana being defeated by Cape Verde, and we also saw Egypt play into a 2-2 draw against Mozambique. But we need to make sure that we bring the 3 points home in our first game. What do you think is our strength going into these games, and the players that you think can switch it on for us since it's our first game?
The team as it is, a complete team that can give you a very good 4-2-3-1 system with fullbacks that can be very offensive, looking at Mudiba as well as Mudau, with option maybe of saying, can we try to be more balanced on the right with Morena as a wide midfielder on the right. Maybe on the other side have Mayambela, and then maybe or Pesi again have Mahopa top, and then the 3 midfielder. Obviously, for me, it will be Mokoena, Sitole, as well as Zwane, and the 2 centre backs. Obviously, I think the coach will go for Kulu and maybe. CBC, any of the center backs which he has decided to take. But I can tell you, the influence of Mamelodi Sundowns and how Mamelodi Sundowns is playing, we're still gonna see it. The influence of playing over the top with with the presence of Makgopa, we're still gonna see it. Lot of overloads on the fullbacks, we're still gonna see it. Mudiba and as well as Modao going forward. Lot of creativity, lot of combination through the central corridors. Mokoena with the understanding he has with Zwane, you're still gonna see that, and total dominance in the central midfield with the influence of Sitole as well as Mokoena. Because I think let's be honest, it's just unfortunate that as a country we are very ambitious and we want to see our team doing well. But when you look at the 90% of these players whom I have counted, they still have another opportunity of playing the next Africa Cup of Nations. And in those, in the next Africa Cup of Nations, I can tell you this team will be more mature, more stable, and it can do something. But it depends what we get from the Mali's game. Mali is a very competitive team. If I'm not wrong, they are a team that has won something like 6-2 against one of the teams during preparation. So they are very competitive. They have very good players, a very experienced team. But like I said, what is important, which I have seen during this tournament, every team that plays with high intensity, every team that defends well, ended up being on a winning side.
Coach, overall, when we look at the African Cup of Nations as a whole, is there a team that you believe it's a favorite so far in terms of, going all the way to winning it? I mean, we saw Senegal playing quite an amazing style of football as the champions, coming in strong, just putting their foot on. Is there a team that you think can actually go all the way and surprise us and win it?
This is a tournament that might give us surprises or a new champion. But with what I saw with Senegal, they look more organized, more structured, and they play to their strength. So out of all the teams that before the tournament people were talking about them, I think the team that did not disappoint is Senegal. About the rest, they still have to prove me wrong, but I don't really think that they have given enough. Your Nigeria did not give enough. Your Algeria did not give enough. As much as Cote d'Ivoire won, but for me, I don't really think that they have done enough in terms of making sure that they dominate the game as the host. As much as they created a couple of chances, as much as they look like they can score any minute, but for me, I don't think they were really that dominant. So far, a team that I can talk about is Senegal. And then I'll still say, don't rule out a team like, or a country like Cape Verde. They are going to give us problems. They are very, very energetic, very, very aggressive in terms of their counter-attacking game. So for me, I'll still say, after today's game, it will tell us how far we as South Africa, but I would really want us to go through to the knockout stage with the quality of players that we have. I think to complement the quality and the experience, we'll have to fight and be in the quarterfinals, or maybe qualify for the knockout stage. But with what we have, I strongly believe that South Africa can be amongst the teams that can do well. Only thing that I'm worried about it is the mindset. Can we be willing to fight up until the last minute? What Angola did yesterday has reminded me of the Bafana that produced Benny McCarthy. They were very resilient, very committed. And when you look back, after we have produced Benny, after we have produced so many young players which came into picture and gave a good balance into the team, we have the same opportunity now with the likes of Apolis, with the likes of Mayambela, with the likes of Mokoena. We have a team that is capable of doing that. The only thing that really it's my wish is to approach the game with positive attitude, proper energy, good attitude, then we can be the best of our team.
Coach, let's say we beat all the odds and we approach the game with a proper attitude, positive. As a closing question for me, what would be your score prediction today? In fact, let's put it on how you feel about the game generally. What would be your score prediction? Would you like to put your head on the block and just say, you know what, for all the punters out there, let me help you decide on this one and give you a prediction?
This is a difficult match for us as a country. You know, at some point, I became very emotional to say these are tournaments that one would wish to be there and contribute to the growth of this country in terms of football. And honestly speaking, I feel that this is a tournament that South Africa is expected to do well. And I see a 2-1 score in favor of Bafana.
Coach, thank you so much for chatting to us today about the game we're about to watch tonight. Look, I can't wait for us to win by that score margin 2-1. That would be a great way to start. But anyway, thank you so much for giving us your time while you are out in Botswana.
I wish they will make us proud and reminded us of the days they used to win matches, and those in Bloemfontein, they know. We used to meet at BP Garage, celebrate. Those in Bochabela, they know where they used to meet. So for us as South Africans, we will pray for them to get positive results. For us as football people, we will wish them well and hope that they will get positive results. But I have a feeling that they will go out there and represent the country and do well, because I always say when I had an opportunity to talk to national team players, I always remind them of our situation as a country, that football is the only thing that reminds us of how important it is to unite the nation. Through soccer, through rugby, we have been able to unite the country. So we need to win to unite this country. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Coach.